Hi there, this is Taylor Hamblin from History Forge. I'm going to be focusing on analyzing a secondary source today using that race strategy that I've mentioned before. And I'm going to be focusing on the E part, the explain. So as you can kind of see here, I got my little E. And that is by far the most tough, or the toughest part. My students definitely struggle with it, and I know other students do too. And I think it's just because, really it's the one part where you can't find the answer in the book. There is no answer. It's like what you feel, what you think, and so it really does show mastery of understanding and knowledge, because it really does prove that you understand the concept. So we're going to go over it. I got these different things written down. I think I got 6. Yeah, I got 6 of these little things written down. And these are sentence starters. So I can even put, dot, dot, dot to kind of show that. These are what we could start a evidence paragraph or an explanation paragraph with. So this evidence means, this evidence proves, so on and so forth. And we're going to do this. So we're going to answer the question. So as you can see here, I got my question, my sections. What I'm highlighting now, if you're my student, this should look really familiar. This is like the sections of the book that we're reading. These pages tell us where to go. And then there's the final actual question. The question is, describe the impact of the battles of Lexington and Concord. Does this section use enough primary sources? I'm going to tell you what, we're actually going to just remove that last part and this, because we should always explain our opinion. So we're just going to make it nice and easy to understand. So we're just describing the impact of the battles of Lexington and Concord. Nice and simple, right? And I'm gonna do the entire race strategy, but I'm really gonna focus on the explaining part. So let's go ahead and get into it. And we're only gonna use this paragraph just to keep it simple. I got this paragraph set up. It says Lexington and Concord. And again, we're looking for understanding as to why Lexington and Concord were special. Like, what was such a big deal about them? Why did they have an impact? So let's go ahead and start reading. So meanwhile, the British continued their march. At dawn, the Redcoats approached Lexington. There they ran into about 70 waiting Minutemen, led by Captain John Parker. The Minutemen stood on their own on the town common with muskets in hand. Badly outnumbered, the Minutemen were about to give way to the Redcoats. Just then, a shot was fired from where is still not clear. Both sides let loose an exchange of bullets. When the shooting ended, 8 Minutemen lay dead. So the British then continued on to Concord. While some troops burned the few weapons they found, the others met a group of Minutemen waiting at the North Bridge. In a short battle, the British took heavy losses. They began to make their way back to Boston. All along the road, colonists hid behind trees and fired on the soldiers. By the time the Redcoats reached Boston, at least 174 were wounded and 73 were dead. About 60 years later, poet Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote in, quote, the Concord Hymn, end quote, that the Americans at Lexington and Concord had fired the, quote, shot heard round the world, end quote. The battle for independence had begun. So, very short section, 4 total, I wouldn't call them paragraphs, but 4 little sections within this larger section. And we're trying to figure out, why is Lexington and Concord important? Well, it says here, basically, that it's what got the war started. This is the first exchange of, exchange of bullets, exchange of battles. So we could say that, okay, so we're going to use good POQ, so we're going to use that R and A, restate and answer. So we're going to say Lexington and Concord had a big impact because they were the first battles of the American Revolution, right? So I'm restating the question a little bit. In this case, it's not a question, it's a statement, but I'm restating that statement in my answer, and I answer the question. I said that it's the first major battle. Now, we need quotes. We need evidence, right? So we need to find some kind of evidence in here. Let's see. So, battle on number blah, 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 on the coast. So right here it says, I'm going to highlight this entire sentence right here, and this is going to be my quote. And I'm going to be good about it. I'm not going to just put a quote in there. I'm going to say, according to the section called Lexington and Concord, the author stated, let me get rid of the about 60 years later, poet Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote in the Concord Hymn that the Americans at Lexington and Concord had fired the shot heard round the world. The battle for independence had begun, end quote. So that's my quote, right? It's 2 sentences. It's from the book, and it tells my reader exactly how I got my information. I need to still explain it. And that's where a lot of students are having a hard time. Like, a lot of times I'll have students say, this quote came from the book, so it's good. No, that's vague. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, and that's way too trustworthy. Like, you shouldn't trust things that easily. You should actually explain why you truly believe that it connects the dots. Like I always tell students, like, imagine you're trying to explain this to a younger person. Like, how could this quote show you that this is the first battle? And sometimes it seems a little obvious and silly, but there are good ways to explain it. And I'll show you how that's done. So, for example, this evidence means. We could start a sentence that way. So let's do that right here. This evidence means. And we can even be more descriptive too. We can even say, like, this quote means if we wanted to. But right now we'll say this. This evidence means Concord and Lexington were the first battles because the book saying the battle for independence had begun proves that no other battles had been fought before. Yeah, pretty simple. And that's not personally how I would write certain things, but just to make it simple, that's a good way to look at it. Nice, easy to understand, it connects all the dots, and so this right here would be an explanation. That is an explanation that connects the dots for us. And you can use whatever sentences you want. Like if you're writing an essay or a bigger paper or research, you don't want to just keep on saying this evidence means, this evidence means. You want to, mix it up a little bit. It's nice for readers to see, different ways to start a sentence. It's less boring that way. So I could have said this evidence proves, or this quote proves. I could say the author shows. I could say the evidence proves my answer because blank. Like all of these would actually really work well. So do this, like actually use these, and if you're having a really hard time with the explanations, write these down. These will be really beneficial for you because it doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to help us connect the dots. So just to reiterate, do not say things like the book said so. That doesn't make sense. Like, and really ask yourself, is my explanation very clear? Am I doing a very good job of connecting those dots? You can read it yourself, and if you feel like you're still kind of confused, you can always come to your teacher and ask. So that's the explanation. Definitely use these 6. I feel like once you get it started, like once you actually know what you're doing, it's actually pretty easy. But again, just practice, and then let me know if you need help. So if you're my students, you can start ignoring me. Everybody else, hello. Feel free to check out the video description. And this is a conclusion of our race strategy, talking about it. We've gone through the other parts. If you want to see the other 2, they're in my videos. I mostly am going to use these as an intervention for my students, helping them understand like how these should work. Like, if I have students that have already mastered the skill, I'm not going to make them watch this video. I'm going to have them do something else that really enriches their experience, or maybe I will even have them work on their big project. I don't know. But I'm going to make more of these videos about race, and I do think they help. I think it does show a decent example for modeling anyway. So I'll keep on doing this, and if you have any questions, please let me know. But I'm also going to put this under the inferring skill, because this is technically an inference. Like we did talk about why something's important. So if I show you my skills, this would go under important details. So I'm not sure what title I'm going to give this one yet. I might have to give it 2 titles, because technically we did race, but we also worked on the thing right now my mouse is hovering over. We definitely talked about the important details of a source and why they were important. So I think I'm going to put it there. I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyway, so thanks for coming by. Feel free to watch other videos. Feel free to also message me if you have any questions. All right, take care.